Katerina Erbiti, and I'm here with Jose Antonio Vargas today. Thank you so much, Mr. Vargas, for being here today.
Please call me Jose.
Jose.
Yes.
Thank you, Jose, for being here with us today.
Thank you for having me.
So I kind of just want to start, most people know your story and read the article and have seen your documentary here. I kind of want to start off by asking you how you felt when you were 16 and you found out that, your green card wasn't real, that you were here and it was fake.
It's one of those moments that I actually wish that there was the internet. Like, can you imagine what it was like when you find out something about yourself and you can't search it? Like, you can't just go on Google and search for other people who may be. I actually was convinced that I was the only when you hear about fake papers or you hear illegal people, you automatically think Mexican. That's what the media says. Mm-hmm. And that's how politicians talk about it. So I had just assumed that I was the only non-Mexican person. I didn't understand how that happened. So I didn't understand how I was smuggled here. I didn't understand why there was no process. I didn't understand why my mother would do that and why my grandparents would go along with it. And then I didn't understand, I was a freshman. My grandfather started me a year late, so I was always the oldest person in class. So I was 16, I was a freshman, and I heard about this thing called PSATs and SATs. Mm-hmm. And what would be the point in taking them if I can't even go? So I never even took the SATs.
Did you feel at any point kind of scared of maybe being an outcast, maybe being bullied? Was there an anxiety around people finding out and then you maybe not fitting in anymore?
I had to kind of figure out, how do I live like that but not seem like I'm stressed out? I guess I learned early on to kind of just I have to exude something else. You've
already been here now 21 years. You got here when you were 12.
Yeah.
Did you feel less American when you told people? Did you feel when now maybe now that everyone knows I'm not as American as I thought,
The funny thing is I never felt that I would be. I actually think the fact that I'm fighting for this makes me more American. I hope that you guys don't take your privilege for granted, right? The fact that you're born here and you get to call this your home, and you hear so much about, the Republican decline, or America is, on its way out, or we're not what we used to be. All you gotta do is talk to an immigrant to know the possibility and the excitement of America. I actually am a proponent of American exceptionalism. I believe that America is exceptional because we've always been a country of countries. We have always been a country in perpetual experiment.
Do you still feel that really close bond to, your home? I know that sometimes you say you can't always remember everything that happened, which is normal. I can barely remember what I did yesterday, but, how's that connection? How do you deal with very much being American, because you have lived here for so long, but also a big part of you is somewhere else?
There's a saying in Tagalog, that's my native language. I still think in Tagalog, I think in my head. You never are gonna know where you're going until you realize where you come from. I am very much aware of where I come from, right? I'm aware that I grew up, I spent a lot of time in the provinces in the Philippines where we would eat off banana leaves, and actually my grandmother was reminding me that I never use the bathroom because I always just peed everywhere in the trees because we lived in kind of a rural place. And I look at that with a lot of, I can't wait to see it. I can't wait to see, actually to this day, I haven't been in the beach. I don't like going to the beach. Mm-hmm. So I go to Miami and Hawaii and I don't step in the water because that's the memory of the Philippines to me.
You constantly talk about the need for our generation and all of America right now to be having an honest immigration conversation.
Yes.
What is an honest immigration conversation? Everyone seems to have so many different opinions on immigration. What would ideally for you, being an immigrant, what would that present?
And not just being an immigrant, I think being, a writer and a journalist and a filmmaker, it's can we get on the same page about what the facts are first? Yeah. You're entitled, of course, to your own opinion. This is America. We believe in freedom of speech. But it's really hard to talk about politics and policy when we're not even on the same page. Like the fact that politicians, you know, a lot of them Republicans, can say, oh, wait in the back of the line, without telling people that there is no line. No line exists. And yet, how come the media doesn't really kind of question that for the most part? How much coverage does immigration get? Yet the coverage, I think, focuses on the complexity of the issue and the tension of the issue, but never seem to be the clarity of the issue.
To the people who do say you're exposing, you know, your status being here, what would you say to the other people that think that you kind of had it easy, you know?
Oh, yeah,
that there's so many people that die trying to get to America, wait years for visas, you know, how do you?
I don't believe in like oppression Olympics where you kind of compare, oh, you had it worse, I had it better, or whatever. But having said that, I think it's very, when I did this 3 years ago, one of the biggest questions I had to answer is, am I ready for my life, for my fate to be married to a day worker, to a nanny, right? To somebody who got here 10 years ago versus 21 years ago? Am I ready to be lumped in with the 11 million people? And the answer was yes. And that's why this is not about being a model immigrant, a model minority, or I'm deserving versus people who aren't deserving. I'm not interested in that kind of dichotomy. What I am interested in is dignity. And I think that's kind of what's lacking in the way we talk about people, right? Like we're talking about people, not insects off our backs.
Well, thank you so much for being here today. It was a pleasure to have you, Jose.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for watching, everyone.